Have you ever wondered how to change your life, but felt too stuck to even start? I've been there. A few months ago, I looked around at the life I'd built and I realized I was doing everything right, but I wasn't happy. So I made a decision to change everything. I went from feeling stuck, unfulfilled, and completely lost to creating a life that feels like me. And it all started with one decision: to stop waiting and start changing how I was showing up in my life. This is your 90-day roadmap to personal development, growth mindset, and real transformation. And if you're ready for that kind of change, go ahead and hit the like button because this video is going to challenge you in the best possible way. If we haven't met yet, I'm Mariah. I'm a business and mindset coach, and on this channel, we talk about taking back control of your life, your time, your energy, your income, and your future. I'm also the owner and creative director of a luxury branding agency. So when I talk about discipline, consistency, and leadership, I'm not speaking in theory. I'm speaking as someone who has had to make hard decisions, hold myself to a higher standard, and follow through when it would have been easier not to. So if you're done waiting for motivation and you're ready to move, hit subscribe. That's what this channel is all about. Now, let's get into it. If you're wondering how to change your life, this is where it actually starts. Let me tell you what pushed me to change everything. This past year did not go the way I thought it would. I wasn't on track to hit my financial goals, not even close. My momentum had stalled, and even though I was busy, I could feel it in my body that what I was doing wasn't actually moving the needle. I was working hard, hustling, honestly, checking things off, staying productive. But deep down, I knew something was off. I felt disconnected from my future self, the version of me I knew I was capable of becoming. And that gap between who I was being and who I knew I could be started to feel unbearable. That's the part no one really talks about. It's not always burnout. Sometimes it's frustration with yourself. Sometimes it's knowing you're capable of more, but you're not accessing it. And that's where I was the moment I stopped waiting and took control of my life. Here's the truth that hit me hard. No one was coming to save me. Not the algorithm, not a lucky break, not a burst of motivation. And waiting to feel ready clearly wasn't working. That was the moment I realized something important. If you don't like your life right now, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means a decision hasn't been made yet. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I didn't need a new strategy. I didn't need another book. I didn't need to get inspired. I needed to take control again. So I decided that the last quarter of the year was going to be different. In fact, I decided it would be my best one yet. So I pulled out all the stops. My 90-day reset, Epic Q, and 75 hard. This is where Epic Q was born. Epic Q started as something I created for myself and for members inside of my Super Bloom Coach Society because I knew I needed structure, accountability, and focus if I was going to turn things around. At the same time, I committed to 75 hard. And before anyone panics, this was not about hustle. It wasn't about punishing myself. It was about consistency. Epic Q handled the mental and the strategic side. 75 hard handled the physical and the discipline side. Together, they created so much momentum. Not chaos, not burnout, momentum. And that combination changed everything. Here's what actually changed in 90 days. Before I talk about results, I want to talk about states of being because this is where most people miss the point. In 90 days, my discipline changed. My follow-through changed. My emotional regulation changed. I stopped spiraling when things felt uncomfortable. I trusted myself more. I saw myself differently. My identity shifted. I wasn't reacting to my circumstances anymore. I was leading myself through them. And that's the part most people don't realize. Real change doesn't start with outcomes. It starts with who you're being while you're working toward them. And if you're watching this and thinking, I need this kind of reset, comment epic below. Not someday, not next year. Commit to the next 90 days. You deserve this. Changing your life means changing your standards. Once my standards shifted, the results followed. I've lost 18 pounds, not because I was obsessed with weight, but because my health became non-negotiable. I felt physically strong, mentally sharp, emotionally steady. I started showing up differently in my business and my relationships. I made decisions faster, I stopped second guessing myself, and here's a big one. I took a risk I wouldn't have before. I hired 2 new coaches with a 5-figure price tag, one for ads and one for YouTube. A big investment, a bold move. But it wasn't reckless, it was decisive. That's what happens when you trust yourself again. I also booked a huge dream client project shortly after, literally something that has been on my vision board, and that brought a significant boost in revenue. And on top of that, we went from sporadic content to publishing 3 to 5 videos a week. That's not motivation, that's structure. That's consistency. That's proof. How Epic Q and 75 Hard worked together and didn't burn me out. This is the part that matters most. Epic Q gave me focus. It brought my attention back to the things that actually grow a business: sales, visibility, leadership, and decision-making. It pulled me out of being at the effect of external circumstances and put me back in charge of my financial future. Honestly, this process was so powerful that I turned part of it into its own training, Client Boost Formula. Because once your mindset and actions are aligned, getting clients fast becomes inevitable. I'll link that down below if you want to go deeper. 75 Hard, on the other hand, gave me physical grounding. As entrepreneurs, we tell ourselves we'll work out after we get our work done. But the work never ends. Putting my workouts, nutrition, and physical health first, non-negotiable, made me stronger in every way. My body felt solid, my mind felt clear, and that clarity spilled into everything else. Together, these two didn't exhaust me, they stabilized me. The truth, morning motivation isn't enough. Consistency is. This is important. Motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll have it, some days you won't. Consistency doesn't care how you feel, and that's an actual relief. When your life is built on systems instead of moods, everything gets easier. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop starting over. You stop waiting for the right time. You just move. Here's how to change your life without burning it all down. Let me be very clear about something. This wasn't about burning my life down. It wasn't about doing more. It wasn't about grinding harder. It was about deciding that I was no longer available for drifting. Consistency, not intensity, changed my life. And this is exactly why I decided to create Epic Q inside of Superbloom Coach Society. Because this kind of transformation doesn't happen in isolation. Inside the society, we focus on becoming the version of you who can sustain change, not just spark it. That's the difference. So if you're done starting over, if you're done waiting for motivation, if you're ready to actually follow through, Superbloom Coach Society is where this work continues. This is where structure meets mindset. This is where consistency becomes normal. This is where change sticks. You'll find the link in the description. And if you want the real, unfiltered story of my first 3 rounds of 75 Hard, watch this video next. The truth about 75 Hard, what no one tells entrepreneurs. In that video, I break down what actually works, what people get wrong, and how to use it without letting it run your life. That's the next step. I'll see you over there.